Hi everybody, hello and welcome to the workshop. Thank you very much, Heidi, for the handover just a second ago, and a big warm welcome again, and massive thank you to Jamie and Carl and everybody else who has been involved with organising the event today. It's from what I've been able to catch up on so far, it's been a really hectic day for everybody. So thank you everybody for sticking around to see me this afternoon. I hope you're all well. We have started a couple of minutes early, so we'll just wait for a few more people to come along before we get going. Oh dear, I hope you're all well. There's a few names coming up in the chat that I recognise and a few that I don't. I hope you can all hear me. Yeah, there's a few names there, I reckon. Hi, Carl. Carl, Mark, Pritchard, Wyvie Woodshed, Ronnie, that's cool, nice to see you too. Dutch Woodturner, Circular Wood by Keith, that's a name I don't recognise. So good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning if you're over in the States. I've been looking forward to this. I haven't really known what to do, because some of you will probably know that I'm actually moving. Well, I'm not moving very far. I'm moving from this building to just the other end of the building, which I'll just talk about for a couple of minutes at the beginning when we get started. So, boo, 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 boo. Hi, Andy Best, Mike Doyle, Jim Smithers, Leaping Lima Craftworks. That's a new name. I haven't seen you before. Nice to see you. You're very welcome. And Don, hi Don, Anthony Southwell. Scott, the Blue Light Turner. Yeah, I haven't really known what to do for this, because most of the stuff that I do takes takes a lot longer than an hour. So I will be doing a bowl today from start to finish in less than an hour, hopefully. I am oddly a little bit nervous today. I don't know why. It's silly, really. It's not like I'm a stranger to live demonstrations or anything like that, but no, it's pretty cool. Ghost Wolf, good afternoon. Steve Ash, Stephen Rickett, hello, nice to see you. So yes, 3:59 here in the UK, so I think it's time that we get started. So I will bid you all a very warm welcome again to my workshop here in Hampshire in the UK. My name's Martin Saban-Smith. I'm a professional woodturner and demonstrator and teacher, and now a shop owner as well. And if you didn't know, I also make and developed the Hampshire Sheen range of finishes. Now I am going to have to be talking fairly quickly today, because I am going to be going through a bowl turn from start to finish, and we'll end up with a completed piece at the end. Yeah, sanded, finished and everything, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but it's going to be good. Right, so for those of you who already know me and you follow me already on Facebook and Instagram, you would have seen that I have been moving workshops, or rather building a new custom built studio for all of this camera gear and stuff like that, and for me to do my own private turning, which will also be my office too. And I've been busy in there again this morning, and I just wanted to show you, where's it gone? There it is. That is what the new shop is looking like at the moment. I've got the two of the computer monitors in. There's the one that I'm looking at now that needs to go in too, and there's also the new Vicmark VL300 lathe in there as well, which is itching to go, and I can't wait to get all of the various bits and pieces sorted out in there, which I'm going to be starting this evening and then probably finishing tomorrow. So that's all really exciting. Now, as I said just before a few of you joined, I've managed to watch a few little bits of the demonstrations today, so I haven't been able to, because I am just up to my eyes in stuff. But what I have here is it's a 12 by 2 and a bit inch piece of spalted beech, and it's mounted to a chuck mounted faceplate, and it's spalted beech is I either love it or hate it. It depends on my mood, and today it's it's a good piece to use, because I'm not going to be going through I'm not going to go through my complete finishing process today. So we're just going to turn this with a food safe finish, food safe finishing oil. So I've just mounted it onto the Axminster Evolution 114 SK114 chuck, and I've got a couple of camera angles for you to look at as well. So there's one there, and that's all mounted up. Now, just for a little bit of safety, I'm going to bring up the tailstock just to give the piece a little bit of support. Let's slide that up there. Make sure everything's nice and locked down. Oh, Rob CP, colour it. I'd love to. If I had time, I would, but I don't have time today to colour it, unfortunately. Well, we'll see how we go. We might do. As you know, I've turned a few bowls. Okay, right, just a little point of safety. When you're turning in your own workshop, make sure that you are wearing some kind of face protection or eye protection. When I'm doing my live demonstrations, I tend to stick with safety glasses rather than a face shield like that, and that is for my convenience and comfort. So right, I've got the piece mounted on the face plate and it's on the chuck. I'm just making sure that all of the various bits and pieces are what's the word I'm looking for? All the various bits and pieces are locked down, so the tool rest is locked in position and the tool rest is locked into position. And I'm going to start this with a 3/8 bowl gouge. Probably my favourite tool ever is a 3/8 bowl gouge. They're incredibly versatile, and this one has a 55-degree bevel on it, and depending upon who you talk to, some people will like a 45-degree bevel, others like a 50-degree, others like a 60-degree. My favourite is a 55-degree bevel with a long grind on it. So we'll just go back to the overhead. And just as I do normally, I'm going to just start by getting the bowl round, and the tool rest is going to be at a height that when the tool's presented correctly, we're cutting just on the centre line or just underneath the centre line. So we'll start with this view here. The lathe's going to go up to, how fast is that? That's 686 miles an hour, sorry, RPM. And we'll just start to get the bowl round with a nice push cut. Spalted beech may not be the best choice of wood for a demonstration, because it does have a tendency to tear out a little bit. Let's go to the overhead view, you'll get a better picture. I'll just do another push cut. This is a very flaky. Have you ever done one of those demos where as soon as you make the first cut you wish you hadn't chosen that blank? That's me today. It's very flaky, this piece of beech, and if we just look at the end grain here, you can see that we've got a reasonable amount of tear out, which is a little bit annoying. But it is what it is. We're just going to have to run with it. But it'll be good fun. What I'll do is I'll stop and request some questions as we go. Not as often as I would do normally because of the time. But if I see a question that comes up on the screen as I'm turning, then I'll be very happy to answer it. Right, so that's the piece. It's round now, but we still have this rather manky looking face on the bottom, so we're just going to clean that up a little bit, just with a nice cut just along the bottom. I'll just face that off. I'm not putting too much pressure into the wood at this point. It's the wood that needs to do the work, not me. All I'm going to do is guide the tool through the piece. This is such a flaky piece of wood. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. We've got some nice figures showing in here. It's fairly dense here, but pretty spongy here and here, and it's fairly solid there as well. So it's not ideal, but never mind. Right, next I'm going to put a tenon on the bottom, and the jaws I'm using require a, I can't remember, that's a bit bigger than that, it's about there. I need a 60mm tenon on there, so I've just marked the place for the tenon. We'll go to that one, and then just start to take some of the wood away. So we can put a tenon on here. Turning bowls is my absolute favourite thing about wood turning. Or rather, to be a little bit more accurate, it's not turning bowls, it's faceplate work, which is where you turn work in this kind of orientation. It's by far and away my favourite. And then I'm going to just grab a spindle gouge just to finish putting the tenon on there. Put a little bit more speed in the lathe. There we go. Just put the tenon in. There's a little wobble going on. There we go, there's a nice tenon there. So the tenon we're going to use to reverse mount the piece on the chuck when we finish turning the outside of the bowl. And now I need to start thinking about a foot. As Heidi was saying in the presentation just before mine, a foot is really important, particularly on a bowl, because it lifts the piece off the surface on which it is sitting, and it just helps stop it looking like it's sinking into the tabletop or the sideboard or something like that. And I like to do my feet about a third of the diameter, or a tiny little bit smaller than that. So with the piece running, or with the piece spinning, I'm going to look at it as a blank disc essentially, and just use a pencil and just put a foot about there. That's all I want for the foot, just about there. That's roughly a third. It might be a little bit small, but that's okay for me. I'm a great believer in, if it looks right, it probably is right. So I can stop the lathe just there, and then move the tool rest into a position where I can start to eat away this corner. And in fact, we'll go with a wider shot. There we go. In fact, I will just hold the focus on that, because just to stop it zooming in and out like that. There, ooh, there we go. That'll do. There we go. Right. Okay. So we're gonna eat off this corner, and again we're going to be using a 3/8 bowl gouge to start with. I might move to a 3/8 gouge with a slightly longer grind on it, so a 45 degree, but I'm not entirely certain yet. So I've got the lathe spinning, tool rest is in the right place, everything's locked down again, and I'm going to start by taking away this corner. Now normally with a piece of wood that isn't quite so flaky, we'd be getting some really nice shavings coming off here, or some streamers, or some shavings that look like streamers rather, but we're not getting that today, which is a little bit annoying. So by turning this with the handle down, oh, there we go. So by turning this with the handle down, it makes it much easier for me to do, because the wood is being sliced rather than chopped. Sorry about that, shavings in the mouth. So in a minute I'm going to start to say that again. In a minute I'm going to start to turn the shape and create a curve around the piece. You can see that there's a little bit of a curve being formed there already, but I want a slightly more pronounced curve than that. But for now, what I need to do is get my foot in just here by this line, and to do that I'm going to use the natural curve of the toe of the tool. And if I just move the overhead camera a little bit and just pull that down here, the focus isn't great, but you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the tool in and then move the handle away from me, which will just make a little scoop just here by the pencil line. In fact, if I just move the camera that way a bit and then that way, can I get that down a little bit lower? Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Okay, so we're going to put the foot on. This piece is a little bit unbalanced. So there we go. So we're going to go in, push the handle away, which will make a little scoop. And you can see that we've got a nice little curve there coming for the foot of our piece. And again, with the handle down. Oh, there we go. There's a little view of my floor. There. Right, where was I? Oh yes. Yes, so with the handle down, remember I'm slicing the wood rather than chopping it, which is exactly what I want to do, particularly where this piece is so flaky. And I'm going to use my body to turn the curve. There we go, you can see, oh sorry, I didn't change the camera view. Right, there we go. So you can see just by moving my body a little bit, I'm starting to put the curve on there. Just need to move my keyboard out the way. Let's move that over there somewhere. Right, and if we use that view there, I can show you in a little bit more detail how my body's moving. So I'm standing with my feet shoulder width apart and I'm facing just behind the piece. If we just look at the overhead, I'm actually here. There we go. So I'm going to move my weight over my right foot and then just swing my bum round to my left. Which is putting on a really nice curve on the bottom of the bolt there. See? That's nice. That's really nice. And just also, just here, you can see it better on this side. We've got a nice foot. But we've got some issues with some tear out here, which is not uncommon with spalted woods, particularly manky spalted beech like this. So I'm just going to change the gouge over to another 3/8 gouge, but with a 45-degree bevel on it, and that will just help me get a slightly nicer cut. And I can slow down a little bit. It's only 4:15. I don't need to rush. So actually, we'll stop here for a minute. Has anybody got any questions? John Foster, is it a bit wormy? No, there's no worm. There's no worm in it, John. No, we're good. Hello, Jerry Dempsey. Oh, Matt Harbour, manky. Yes. Sorry, for those of you in the US, manky means just a little bit there. It's manky is something that's not very nice. John Foster, you're a star. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. Sorry, I do occasionally come out with these little things that that my American viewers don't understand. So manky is another one for you. Andy Hexter, how do you get a 55-degree bevel using a Robert Sorby Pro Edge? Right, Andy. If the easiest thing for me to say is to have a look at my Robert Sorby Pro Edge demonstration that's on my channel. It was a few months ago, but it's not very far back through the list of videos, and I explain exactly how to get a 55-degree bevel. But if I just turn this camera over here a minute, you've got the Pro set here. If you use the 45-degree setting at this point here, and then with the long grind jig, that's the bit that connects to the Pro Edge. It's that hole there. This hole is 45 degrees, this hole is 50 degrees, this hole is 55 degrees, okay? Cool, right, let's just turn that back round. Anthony Southwell, thank you, you're a star as well. Royal Turner, this is a parallel dovetail, a parallel tenon. The jaws I'm using don't require a dovetail. Right, okay, now I'm going to see if I can get rid of this this tear out on here by doing a little bit of a push cut, just to try and get rid of that. It is pretty severe, so I'm not holding out an awful lot of hope for this. So we'll go to the overhead view, and I'm going to drop the tool rest a little bit. Now I don't do push cuts very often, because I'm left-handed and I find them really, really awkward. So I'm going to come here instead, and I'm going to do almost a reverse push cut. And I'm going to stop there and just have a look. Yeah, that's much better. If I just hold that round there, you can see the pull cut I was doing and then the push cut. The push cut is a little bit better, but this is so punky. So punky, such a manky piece of wood. Let's just stop there as well. That's better. It's not great because this punky stuff is really deep. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to panic. But it is overall a nicer surface to be looking at. Get the tourist in the right position. Jim Smithers, thank you. So, whoops. Start here. And we'll stop there. There we go. That is a much nicer surface. There is this where it is so punky. That is just dreadful. Don't like that at all. So I'll just do one more cut round there. Oh, I can't get in the right position. There we go. That's better. The joys of being left-handed. Blend that in there. Still good. Splendid. Right, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that now. That's good. I've got a few nicks and cuts. I've been in the walls recently whilst I've been moving workshops. I just need to put a little bit of the foot back on because I just caught that in the. Let's do that one. Because I just caught the foot in that little cut there, so I'm just going to ease that foot back on, which is good. Right, okay, now, oh, there we go. Right, now I'm going to sand that down. I'm going to sand it down fairly quickly. I'm not going to panic too much, because remember, we're not going to be going for a super glossy finish on this. We're just going to do a relatively natural finish. And when you are sanding, of course, make sure you take precautions to look after your lungs. Most of us only get one set. So I'll just put this on. You will still be able to hear me after I get this on. Right, there we go. And then glasses back on too, and the extractor and the air filter. I would put the air filter on if I could find the remote control, but I can't find the remote control, so the air filter will have to stay off. Okay, right. So I'm going to use a rotary sanding tool, or an inertia sanding tool like this one here. And this wood is fairly soft, so I've got to be fairly careful with it. Talk amongst yourselves while I do this. It's not particularly interesting. Slow the lathe down a tiny bit. Nice to see 293 people here this afternoon. Thank you again for joining in. Phil Bolt has just mentioned there that this is the last live demonstration from this workshop, which it is. I'm really looking forward to getting into the new one next week and getting settled in there, which will be great fun. And then I think the next live demo from there will be, or rather the very first live demonstration from there will be in a couple of weeks' time. Whoop. Okay, so that was 120 grit done. For those of you who know me, my sanding regime is 120, 180, 240 and then 400. I don't bother with I don't bother with 320 because I believe that with a decent sanding technique you don't need it. So we'll just run round there with 180, we'll have a look. We'll just stop and have a look. That's coming out really nicely. I'm quite surprised about that, to be honest. So I'll get right in there, right into the foot. Make sure that we've got a nice clean surface from here, from the foot down to here. I'm not worrying about the base here just at the minute, or the bottom of the foot, because we'll be doing that later when we turn the foot off. So that was 180 grit, this is 240. Now each grit that you use should really be doing less work than the previous one. So that was 240 and then this is 400. Notice how I'm not stopping to check every time. I'm confident enough with my sanding technique not to worry about stopping between grits every time. But if you're fairly new to turning, then it's definitely worth stopping just to make sure that you've got rid of any tear out or previous sanding marks or even tool marks. So make sure that you've got a nice clean surface onto which you can put your final finish. And there we are, look at that. That's really nice, that. managed to get rid of the tear out, or the majority of it. Well, it's not tear out, it's the punkiness of the wood. So that looks super. I'm going to leave the extractor running for a bit. Oh, I'll take this off. Oh look, I've just found the remote for the air filter, so I'll switch that on now. And now we can start to put on a finish here. And I'm just going to be using a very, very simple finish, because this could be a salad bowl or a fruit bowl or something like that. So when it comes to food safe or pieces that you're turning that are going to be food contact safe, then make sure that it says food safe on the tin. And I'm using some Hampshire Sheen Food and Toy Safe Danish oil. If I just put the long view on, when we put the oil on like that, you can see that the grain really pops out nicely. I'll switch the extractor off now. The grain pops out really nicely. Now I would normally put on perhaps 3 or 4 coats of this, leaving about 20 minutes between coats, but we don't have time to do that today because it's 4:27, which means I've got half an hour now to reverse mount this, take hollow out the inside, and then take the tenon off, so we've got a nice flat bottom. Okay, there we go. There's the oil on. That looks great. Right, just while I take the faceplate off, does anybody have any questions? I can't find the lid. There it is. If anybody's got any questions, please do ask now. I'll answer as many as I can before I need to crack on. Ooh. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. I'll take the faceplate off. Hi, Costas. Oh. Ba 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 da ba. Ba 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 da. Right. Let's get this mounted on the jaws. Okay, right, tighten the jaws up, but not too much. We don't want to be tightening the jaws too much. There we go, that's running nice and true. So we'll stop there, just give them one last little tweak. JP Woodwork question, was that the new Simon Hope sander? Yes, JP, yes, Jamie. Yeah, this is the new old Simon Hope sander. So it's still got the original Pro head on there. Martin Woody's Creations, thank you very much. That's awesome, you're a star. Jamie, yes, so this is the original Simon Hope Pro sander that is now available again. It's got a really nice chunky handle. I know some guys who suffer with issues with their grip prefer a slightly larger handle. So Simon's brought back the original Pro sander, which is really nice, and I actually prefer it as well. Right, now we've got the bowl reverse mounted now, and now this is my favourite bit: hollowing out. I absolutely love hollowing out bowls. This to me is the what's the word? I can't even think of the word I'm looking for now. It's this is what woodturning is all about: is hollowing out bowls. Okay, right. So I'm going to crack on with this because it's 4:30, so I don't have a huge amount of time left because there's still a reasonable amount of stuff that we need to do to finish this piece. Okay. Right, just get it so the lathe isn't wobbling. I don't want to go too fast. Let's just slow it down a little bit. Yeah, the piece is a little bit unbalanced because of the different amounts of spalting in there. Right, so there we are. Got the tool rest at the right height. No, I haven't. So I'm just going to change gouges back to my favourite 55 degrees and just start to eat this bowl. Sorry, you're looking at the back of my head there. Let's try that one. So I'm going to eat the bowl out from the middle to the outside. Are we going to do this with thin walls or thick walls? What are we going to do? Just while I think about that, I'm going to change the gouge to the sharper 55 degree bevel. So bear with me just while I change this over. Dee. My favourite bit is hollowing out bowls. I prefer hollowing out bowls that aren't manky and falling to bits like this. But there we go, it is what it is. Just going to clean the outside of this down a little bit. There we go, and I think our walls are going to be about that thick. So I can start to eat this bowl away now. Now, because we're working on spalted woods here, I've got to be careful. There we go. Right, this is a back hollowing cut. This particular cut is not really advised for beginners, as it is quite prone to catching if you're not careful. And I'm hollowing this out pretty quickly. But you'll notice that as I'm doing, at least I hope you can see, here that I'm keeping the bevel in contact with the wood all the way down. Even though I'm making some pretty aggressive cuts in this spalted beech. Now I can just start to get rid of the pyramid in the middle. Let's just change the view for you. There we go. You can have a look from that angle. So we're nearly at the bottom of the bowl now. Stop the lathe and just drop the tool rest a little bit. We've got quite a lot of tear out on the outside here where the bowl was so spalted. But I'm not going to worry about that because I can sort that out in a little while. Just get rid of this pyramid in the middle. Make a nice easy cut. Try Not Woodworks, thank you very much. Thank you, Bobby. Okay, last couple of cuts coming up. change the angle for you again. Last one. Or maybe I've got one more. Yeah, I've got one more cut there. So I'm going to pick the cut up from back here. Just carefully run that down. John Foster, does anyone make left-handed lathes? John, I don't know, to be honest. But I would think you can probably convert a right-handed lathe to being left-handed if you needed to. Right, now where we've got some problems here on the rim, you see that? I don't like that at all, so I've got to make the whole rim a little bit smaller, or rather make the bowl a little bit shallower. So I'll just want to really carefully just cut in there a little bit. Put a little scoop on the rim as well. I'm liking scoops on rims at the moment. And just scoop the rim out a little bit. And then let's just have a look at the outside there. There we go, that's got rid of most of that. There's still a little bit just here which I'm going to get rid of, so I'll put a chamfer on there very carefully. That's got rid of that. So again, just like we did on the outside, the handle's down, so the wood's being sliced rather than chopped. There we are, good. Right, that's the inside of the bowl done. Now, it doesn't, you know, I'm going through this fairly quickly, and, you know, you don't have to think you can turn a bowl in under an hour. Just take your time. There's no need to rush, particularly if you're a hobby turner. There's no need to rush. I'm just moving the extractor hood in a little bit closer. And just to help me save a little bit of time, I'm going to switch over to a drill, so I can sand the inside of this with a drill. And remember, of course, to look after your lungs. So we'll put the extractor back on. Right. Glasses. And just as before, I'm going to start at 120 grit and then work up through 120, 180, 240, then 400. There we go. Find the on switch. Tool rest view. There we go. Right, so I'm going to start in the middle and I'm going to keep the head moving all the time. So I don't end up with any flat spots. And I'm going to change the battery because that one's dying. Oh, remember to stop the lathe when you leave it unattended. Okay, here we go, there we are, that's better. So I'm keeping the head of the tool moving all the time. And then I'll get in there to do the little scallop that's on the inside. I might even make that scallop a little bit smaller. Yeah, I'm going to make that scallop a tiny bit smaller, so I know that I can definitely
definitely get a grip of the piece when we put it on the coal jaws. Just make that a little bit smaller. Speed the lathe up a little bit. 20 minutes. That's better. Just there. Right. Now we can carry on sanding that. Okay, that was the 120 done, and we're going to move straight down to 180. That should be good for 180. A little bit on the scallop there on the rim, a little bit on the chamfer. Straight down to 240 now. Now you notice I only use, now to get the best out of my sandpaper, I use it like somebody else bought it. That's because sandpaper degrades fairly quickly. With the coarser grits like 80 and 120, I will use them twice. But 180, 240 and 400, the way I look at it is they're basically single use discs. Oh, I've left a tool mark in there. I'm not happy with that. Not happy with that at all. Got to get rid of that. Now if you can see a tool mark or any sanding marks or anything like that in your work, then go back, cut it out or sand it out, one or the other, because at the end of the day the finish and how good the quality of the surface and the finish is what's going to be on show to everybody. So always make sure that the finish on your work is as good as it possibly can be. And if you think you could finish something better, then finish it better. There we go, and then we're back down to 400 now. Okay, a little bit of kitchen towel just to take the dust off. Right, there we go. I'll leave the air filter's still running from last time.
And now we can get some oil on. Oh, got 15 minutes. I'm not gonna rush, but I'm not gonna hang around. Right. Okay, a little bit of oil to go on there again. So we'll put that on there, and the oil will go in. I will probably put another couple of coats on after we get it off the lathe. yeah, after we get it off the lathe, I'll put on a couple more coats of the oil, and then it'll be finished. Okay, right, there we are. And now I can take the piece and the chuck off the lathe. Thank you, Douglas. Douglas Mungham, I appreciate that. Take this chuck off and then replace it with these monstrous great things. These, if you're not familiar with these jaws, they are called coal jaws or button jaws, depending upon the manufacturer. Right, there it is. There's the chuck. Now I need a couple of pieces of kitchen towel. Switch the extractor off, open the jaws up, and hopefully I adjusted them correctly. A little bit of kitchen towel just on the bottom. Oh yes, I did. Haha. Alright, need to open these up a little bit more. Come on, please fit, please fit. Yes, good, it does fit. Mark Pritchard, what's the most you've turned in a day? I turned 13 pens once in one morning, Mark, and that's the reason I don't turn pens anymore. Okay, right. Let's just start that up. Ooh, that's not very good. What isn't lined up there? Excuse me just while I organise this. Get that pressed in there nicely. Slow the lathe down. Oh, that's close enough. It'll do. Okay, right. Now I'm going to bring the tailstock back up because I've got 10 minutes, so I'm going to have to whiz through this. I've got 10 minutes. Slide the tailstock up. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit hairy, because the only thing holding this on there now are those little buttons. So we'll go back down to the overhead. Here we go. So you can see I've just brought the tailstock up, and I'm going to bring up what's this? A spindle gouge, and I can go up to 600 RPM with these button jaws, or these coal jaws rather. Stop the lathe, get the tool rest up, and then I can just start to remove the tenon carefully. A sharp spindle gouge would have been a better choice. Let's just switch to a bowl gouge. I don't normally do this with a bowl gouge, but there we go. We'll just even off the bottom, and we're just going to put a slight undercut on there. Just a very slight undercut. Right, and we'll move to the tool rest view. There we go. Right, so now the only thing holding this piece on here is the buttons. So every cut I take now must be absolutely bang on. Let's find a spindle gouge. There we go. This one's sharp. So I'm going to very carefully take this little nub off. Very carefully. How long have I got? 10 minutes still. Good. Very carefully take this off. The last thing I want is to pop this piece off the lathe at the last minute. There we go. Job's a good 'un. Splendid. Right. Now just need to finish that off with a little bit of sanding, so I'm going to switch the extractor back on. And I'm only going to take this down to about 240 grit. Just move the extractor hood in a little bit closer. Start the lathe up. Oh, there we go. Now there's quite a lot of dust coming off here because this wood is really punky, as I keep saying, and I'm spending more time in the middle than I am on the outside because I want this to have a slightly undercut or a slightly concave bottom. So that was 120, this is 180 grit. 8 minutes left. And then 240. Wipe the dust off. Stop the lathe. Little splash of oil. Hit that on there. Doesn't matter if we go over the rest of the piece. I'll move that out of the way, switch the extractor off. And I can take my glasses off as well now. And then finally, where's my chuck key? Get the microphone in the right place. We can just tuck that off of there. Wipe the dust off it. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is our bowl for this afternoon's demonstration. Thank you very much indeed for watching this afternoon, folks. It's been an absolute pleasure to be doing this demonstration for you, and again a big thank you to Jamie and Carl and everybody else who has been involved with organising it, and the other demonstrators too. I will be logging on a little bit later on to see how much I can actually catch of other people's demonstrations. So yeah, this was the last demonstration from this particular workshop live. There will be another one in a couple of weeks' time, and I am just about ready to hand over to Andy Heel at AH Bespoke for their demonstration, and I'm really looking forward to listening to that because I've got to start dismantling all this, so I'll be listening to that. And once again, thank you very much indeed, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Just search out my name, and if you want to take a look at our brand new online web shop, it's thewoodturningshop.com. Okay, thanks everybody. Catch you later. Head over now and see AH Design, AH Bespoke, sorry, Andy Heel, and thanks again. Bye for now, everybody. Oh, and there's the bowl one last time.